Supermarket vocabulary. Our first vocabulary word is cart. When you enter a grocery store, you grab a cart. You put all of your items in your cart while you're shopping. Or if you're only buying a few items, you can use a basket, which you carry. Our next word is aisle. Aisles are the rows of products in a store. You walk up and down the aisles when you go shopping. The next phrase is on sale. When an item is on sale, this means that it has a lower price than normal. I love when items are on sale. Okay, one more word. Cashier. The cashier is the person that you pay when you're done shopping. In the US, cashiers are usually friendly. Nowadays, in some supermarkets, you can pay without a cashier. This is called self-checkout. Some people prefer cashiers, and other people prefer the self-checkout option. I like both options. Alright, that's all for today. Leave a comment and tell me where you buy your food. And remember to subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, and follow us on Instagram for more English tips and lessons. I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, welcome to this A1 English listening practice video. You can use this video to practice your listening and comprehension as I speak. Okay, today we're gonna talk about some more countries. Last time I told you about my experience in Mexico, France, Portugal, and Spain. Today, I want to tell you about a few other countries that I've been to. Let me start with Italy. I spent 2 weeks in Italy in 2019. This was probably my favorite trip. I had the opportunity to go to many cities and towns in this country. I started my trip in Bologna, which was a great experience. I had some really delicious food in this city, and it was my first time eating at a real Italian restaurant. I'll never forget it. I had a few different local dishes, which were incredible. Also, I ate the best ice cream ever when I was in this city. Next, I went to Florence, which was one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen. I'm sure that some of you agree with me. Then we rented a car and drove through Tuscany. This was an awesome road trip. We drove through beautiful hills, fields, and vineyards. This was my favorite region of Italy. It's so unique there. There's no other place like it. Lastly, we went to Rome and enjoyed the amazing history there. Of course, we loved going to the Colosseum and seeing the ancient buildings there. Okay, now let me talk a little bit about Peru. I went to Peru with a friend in 2018 to see Machu Picchu. Everyone wants to see Machu Picchu, right? So we stayed in the city of Cusco and took some different tours of the area. We saw some interesting ruins around Cusco, and we really enjoyed the beautiful nature there. And the city of Cusco is also a cool place to explore. But of course, the best part of the trip was seeing Machu Picchu. This ancient city is hidden in the mountains, and it's not easy to get there. We had to take 2 buses and a train to arrive there. But it was worth it. The view of Machu Picchu from above was incredible. We sat for a long time just looking at the city. I couldn't believe that I was there. We didn't take a tour, but there were many tours when we were there, so we heard some tour guides talking about the history of Machu Picchu. Then we walked around the city and explored the different parts. This experience was completely unique, and I'll never forget it. Okay, lastly, I'm just gonna say a few things about the UK, specifically London. I only stayed in London for 1 day before I flew to Italy, so I saw very little. but I walked a lot during that short time and I loved the city. The weather was nice when I was there, so I watched the sunset from the river. I also went to my first Christmas market there. So, even though I was only there for one day, I really liked it. I was sad that I couldn't stay longer. Maybe in the future, I'll be able to go back. So, now you know the different countries that I've traveled to. Leave a comment and tell me if you've traveled to any of these countries. Before you go, remember to download the Listening Time podcast and become a member at patreon.com/listeningtime to receive my specialized training, which will help you understand native speakers. And if you want my advanced podcast, then become a Listening Time family member. Also, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, and follow us on Instagram. I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, welcome to this A1 English listening practice video. You can use this video to practice your listening and comprehension as I speak. Okay, today we're gonna talk about some different countries. And specifically, I'm gonna talk about some countries that I've traveled to. This video will have a part 2 so I can talk more about these countries. So, the first country I want to talk about is Mexico. This is where I live. Mexico has almost 130 million people. It's a big country. I've been to many different cities here. Some of my favorite cities are Guadalajara, Guanajuato, and Mexico City. Mexico also has some really beautiful nature. People love traveling to Mexico to spend some time at the beach because there are some amazing beaches here. The water is really warm and so is the weather. Okay, next I want to talk about France. This is the first country that I ever traveled to in Europe, but unfortunately, I've only been to Paris. I haven't been to any other cities there. However, I love the city of Paris. Since one of my favorite activities is walking, Paris is the perfect city for me to travel to. You could walk for days and days throughout the city without getting bored. I think Paris is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I love the architecture, the history, and the general feeling of the city. There are so many nice places to see there. But I know that there are a lot of other interesting places to visit in France. I hope that I can travel all around the country in the future. Okay, next, I want to talk about Portugal. I had the opportunity to spend 2 weeks in this awesome country. I went to 3 different cities when I was there: Lisbon, Porto, and Braga. The capital, Lisbon, is a really interesting place to visit. I especially loved walking through the old parts of the city. And the city of Porto was one of my favorite cities that I visited. It's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen. I loved watching the sun go down over the river in the evening, and I really enjoyed taking a boat on the river too. Overall, I thought Portugal was a fantastic country to travel to, and I recommend it to you. Lastly, let's talk about Spain. I spent more than 2 weeks in Spain, and I visited 6 different cities. The first places we visited in Spain were in the south of the country. The south of Spain is really unique. The culture there is a little different from the culture in the other parts of Spain. I really enjoyed my time in Sevilla and Granada, and I would love to go back. I also really liked Madrid, but I only stayed there for 2 nights. If I go back to Spain, I'm definitely gonna spend more time in this city. It was also cool to travel along the Mediterranean coast. We took a train from Valencia to Barcelona and we really enjoyed the view. I think that a lot of people want to live in Spain because of the sea, the weather, and the food. By the way, I loved the ham that I ate in Spain. They have the best ham in the world. Okay, that's all for today. I'll make a part 2 to this video and I'll talk about a few other countries that I've traveled to. Remember to download my free listening time podcast and become a member at patreon.com/listeningtime to receive my specialized training to help you understand native speakers. And if you want to reach an advanced level of listening, then become a Listening Time family member to receive my advanced podcast. The link is in the description below this video. Also, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, and follow us on Instagram. I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, welcome to this A1 English listening practice video. You can use this video to practice your listening and comprehension as I speak. Before we start, remember to subscribe to the channel, click on the bell. You ready? So today, I'm gonna talk about free time. This is a good topic because everyone enjoys having free time. I love having free time, and you probably do too. So, first, let's talk about how much free time people have. Most children have more free time than adults. When you're a kid, you don't have the responsibilities that an adult has. Adults have to work, pay the bills, and take care of their children. Kids usually don't have to do these things. Kids usually have to go to school and do homework. This can be difficult, but it's usually not that difficult. So, children have more free time. When I was a kid, I had a lot of free time. I got home from school around 2 or 3 p.m., and after that, I played a lot. On weekdays, from Monday to Friday, I probably had around 4 or 5 hours of free time each day. Sometimes I got bored because I had so much free time, but as I got older, I had more homework each year. So, each year, I had a little less free time. I didn't have too much homework though. In the US, we don't get that much homework. In some other countries, children have a lot of homework. I'm glad that my schoolwork wasn't very hard. On weekends, I had even more free time. On Saturday and Sunday, I did many activities. Weekends were the best because I had all day to play and rest. I really liked weekends, and I still do. Now that I'm an adult, I don't have a lot of free time. I have to work and do many other things. I usually start working early, like at 7 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. So, I have to wake up around 6 a.m. When I was a kid, I slept more. I usually slept for 8 hours every night. As an adult, I don't sleep 8 hours every night. I usually get 7 hours or 7.5 hours of sleep. How about you? How many hours of sleep do you get? So, after I finish work, I have some free time in the evening. However, I usually do some extra work or study during this time. I have to make these YouTube videos and Instagram videos, and I also study foreign languages. At night, I have some free time to just relax. My wife and I spend the evenings together and enjoy this time. Okay, now let's talk about some popular activities that people do in their free time. For example, many people like to play sports or exercise in their free time. When I was a kid, I played a lot of sports. I played basketball, baseball, tennis, soccer, football, and golf. I really liked playing sports in my free time. But as an adult, I don't play any sports. I'm not very interested in playing sports nowadays. However, I exercise in my free time. I work out almost every day, but just for a short time. Other people spend a lot of time exercising. So, another activity that people do in their free time is watch TV shows and movies. Many people do this in their free time. I know some people who watch many hours of TV every day. I don't watch a lot of TV or movies. I really like playing games in my free time. I play chess online, but I'm not very good. I also like playing board games with my family. We play games like Catan and Codenames. Do you like playing board games? One last activity that most people do in their free time is surf the internet. This is probably the most common activity that people do. I spend a lot of time on the internet. Some days I spend too much time on the internet. It's not good to spend all day inside on the computer. We should try to go outside and do other activities too. But the internet is very entertaining, so it's easy to spend many hours surfing the web. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you some questions about the video to see if you understood. Write your answers in a comment down below. Number 1. What time did I get home from school when I was a kid? Number 2. How many hours do I sleep each night? Number 3. What game do I like playing online? Alright, remember to subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, and follow us on Instagram for more English tips and lessons. I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, welcome to this A1 English listening practice video. You can use this video to practice your listening and comprehension as I speak. Before we start, remember to subscribe to the channel. So today, I'm gonna talk about the internet. This is a very relevant topic because all of us use the internet. If you're watching this video, that means you're using the internet. The internet is a really important invention. Can you imagine your life without it? I can't. So, let's talk about the history, the use, the positives, and the negatives of the internet. The first version of the internet was created in the 1960s. This was a prototype. A prototype is an early model of a product. So, the prototype of the internet was the early version of the internet. It was created in the US. The US government started this project, but that internet wasn't the same as today's internet. The World Wide Web was created in 1989. People didn't have the internet at home until later. For example, my family started using the internet around the year 2000. How about you? When did you start using the internet? Okay, now let's talk about the benefits of the internet. The internet is one of the most important inventions. It changed the world. Before the internet, there were fewer ways to communicate with people who were far away. You could call them on the phone, or you could write them a letter. I remember writing letters when I was a kid, but nowadays, most people don't write letters anymore. We write emails or we send text messages. Thanks to the internet, we can send messages instantly. So, communication is faster and easier. Nowadays, many people can have long-distance relationships because of the internet. You can talk to your boyfriend or girlfriend for free using Skype or other apps. For that reason, it's easier to have a long-distance relationship nowadays. It's still hard, of course, but the internet makes it a little easier. Another benefit of the internet is the information it contains. You can find anything and everything on the internet. If you want to learn about something, it's super easy. You just need to search for that subject on the internet. There are so many useful resources online. Okay, now let's talk about some of the negative effects of the internet. For example, there is a lot of bad content on the internet. Not everything is good and helpful. There are a lot of things online that we should avoid. Parents need to be careful because children can find anything online. Another negative thing is that people spend a lot of time on the internet. Many of us spend hours and hours every day on the computer. We should spend more time outside, but we don't. We're addicted to the internet. One other negative effect of the internet is that our relationships can get worse. Now, it's less common to talk to people in person. We usually talk to people online. This means that many children don't learn good communication skills. And sometimes, people can get in arguments online. People often argue on Facebook or other social media apps. All right, let me teach you a few vocabulary words related to the internet. We use the phrase log in or log into when we enter into an account like Facebook, and we use the phrase log out when we exit. So, you can say, I logged into Facebook or I logged out of Facebook. Now, let's look at the word username. This is the name that you use to log into an account. You use your username and password to log in. For example, my username is EnglishTeacher123. Lastly, let's look at the word browser. A browser is what you use to open web pages. Some examples of browsers are Safari and Google Chrome. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you some questions about the video to see if you understood. Write your answers in a comment down below. Number 1. When was the World Wide Web invented? Number 2. What is one app you can use to talk to people far away? And number 3. What is one negative effect of the internet? Alright, remember to subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, and follow us on Instagram for more English tips and lessons. I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, welcome to this A1 English listening practice video. You can use this video to practice your listening and comprehension as I speak. Okay, today we're gonna talk about some of my favorite things. We all like talking about things we like, and I wanted to make a video about some things that I like. So first, I want to talk about my favorite dessert. This is a really hard one for me to choose. I love a lot of desserts, and so it's hard for me to decide which one is my favorite. But I think that right now, my favorite dessert is homemade chocolate chip cookies. Notice that I said homemade. There's a big difference between homemade cookies and cookies you buy from the store. In my opinion, homemade cookies are much, much better than other cookies. And the perfect homemade cookie is the chocolate chip cookie. In the US, it's really common for families to make this dessert together. Usually, children help their parents prepare and bake these cookies. It's a fun activity for the family, and the result is delicious. Okay, next, let me tell you about my favorite month of the year. This is another hard one, but I think that my favorite month is April. The reason is because I really like sunshine and long days. In April, winter is finally over, the days get longer, and the weather gets warmer. I don't have to worry about cold weather or rain. This is perfect for me. Okay, how about my favorite sport? My answer to this question has changed many times in my life. When I was a young kid, my favorite sport was basketball. I was a big fan of the Los Angeles Lakers, and I played basketball on many teams. After that, my favorite sport was football, and I really liked the Seattle Seahawks for many years. Then, my favorite sport became soccer, and I started watching it a lot. But now, I don't know if I have a favorite sport. I don't really watch sports anymore, so it's hard to say. But I want to mention my favorite sport to play. I've played many sports in my life, but the funnest one for me is golf. In my opinion, it's the most challenging sport. It's really hard, but once you start to get better, it's really fun. Alright, lastly, let me talk about my favorite language that I've studied. I like all the languages that I've learned, but the funnest one for me to study is it's really cool to see Greek writing and be able to read it and understand it. I also really like the sound of the language. It's a beautiful language and it feels good to speak it. Currently, I don't study this language, so I've forgotten almost everything, but I'll definitely start learning it again in the future. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. I also did a podcast episode about this topic, so you can listen to that if you want to hear more. Before you go, remember to download the Listening Time podcast and become a member at patreon.com/listeningtime to receive my specialized training to help you understand native speakers. And if you want to reach an advanced level of listening, then become a Listening Time family member to receive my advanced podcast episodes. Also, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell, and follow us on Instagram. I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, welcome to this A1 English listening practice video. You can use this video to train your listening and comprehension as I speak. You ready? So, today I'm going to talk about language learning. If you're watching this video, you're probably learning English, so I hope this is an interesting topic for you. Language learning is hard, and if you learn a language, you need to spend a lot of time studying. This is the most important part of learning a language. Time. If you don't spend a lot of time studying, you won't learn English. Language learning takes time. I am a language teacher, but I'm also a language learner. I learn languages because it's fun for me, and I love talking to people from other countries. This is the best part about learning another language. You can talk to many people and make new friends. I talk to people from many different countries. This is the fun part of learning languages. But language learning is not easy. Sometimes I get sad or frustrated when I can't understand somebody. I also get nervous when I talk to people in other languages. But that's okay. It's normal to get sad. It's normal. Everybody makes mistakes when they speak other languages. If you don't make mistakes, you won't improve. To improve, to get better, you need to make mistakes. You need to talk, you need to practice, you need to have fun. So, don't worry about your mistakes. Have fun with English. If you don't have fun, it is harder to learn English. So, here are some tips to have fun with English. Books in English about animals. And if you like technology, read books in English about technology. I love fiction, so I read fiction books in other languages. This helps me have fun and learn. Tip number 2. Watch videos in English that are interesting for you. If you like fashion and clothes, watch YouTube videos about fashion in English. If you like cars, watch YouTube videos about cars in English. It's important to read and watch things that are interesting for you. Okay, tip number 3. Make friends who speak English and make friends who are learning English. I know it's not easy to make friends, but it will help you learn and practice your English. Find an English practice group in your city. You can look for an English practice group on meetup.com. If you can practice your English with friends, it will help you a lot. Okay, we're finished for today. Leave a comment and tell me why you are learning English. I'll see you next video. Hey everybody, welcome to this A2 English listening practice video. You can use this video to train your listening and comprehension as I speak. You ready? So today, I'm going to talk about travel. Traveling is one of the funnest activities. I've always loved traveling. When I was young, my family and I traveled to Hawaii many times. In case you don't know much about Hawaii, it's an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and it's also one of the 50 states of the US. I've been there about 6 or 7 times. I don't remember how many exactly. It's definitely one of my favorite places in the world. Hawaii has plenty of really beautiful beaches, and the lifestyle there is slow and calm. But even though Hawaii is one of my favorite places to travel to, in general, I'd prefer the countryside, the forest, or the mountains more. I love taking camping trips and road trips. I've taken a few different road trips through the US before, and I just recently took a road trip through the Tuscany region of Italy. It was one of the most on our backs. We stayed in some pretty low quality